All right, Libra. These two, to me, it makes sense looking at it, but know that what is coming to you would not be coming to you if you didn't deserve it. I think that that's the biggest message here. So, first of all, uncertainty. Choose who you will become, and then blessed. It makes sense to me. It's like the person who you used to be, maybe looking at the unexpected blessings coming to you as, do I really deserve this? Or feeling like a little bit sketchy about it and not knowing if, those blessings are a part of who you are, but believe me, it is. So now it's about you making the choice to become who you are, not who you were. But all of this is happening because of these unexpected blessings. It says something wonderful that is unearned and unexpected. Grace that is an unforeseen gift from spirit. And like I said, it wouldn't be coming to you if you didn't deserve it. But these unexpected blessings may make you question whether or not you're the type of person that can actually take that in. And that may be based on who you were in the past. So being uncertain here about blessings coming through. Now, and I still see this as a good thing. I just think that the way that you're viewing yourself is what needs to change in terms of what is coming into you. Going dark. Libra, for the month of October, you pulled artificial heart. The moon phase here is the new moon. The stage is bargain. So after the anger has been exhausted, in this stage, we're refusing to accept any of the feelings that are coming through. And that is very clear with this one. So it says, if I don't feel the warmth of the sun, will I blame the sun or myself? And then the sentence says, building oneself to specifications, steeling oneself to adversity, dreaming of electric sheep. Now, going dark talks a little bit about, the Wizard of Oz and the Tin Man wanting the heart. It says a new heart can be bought on the internet now and be delivered in a couple of days with a brand new shiny instruction manual. And it works too. And then it goes on to say, it gets the job done. It's not a job of feelings. It's scripted, like a job of numbers. Actually, it feels like a trade-off. We find refuge in the rational mind, which in turn gives us back the illusion of control. But we still feel, we still long to live through our emotions fully. We are truly like an artificial knight that wants to become a real person. Happiness is not in numbers, but it's not because numbers are bad. It's because there is nothing that alone can grant happiness and guarantee it. We trade in the natural world for artificiality, and then we blame this choice as the reason why our skies have no color. What if this is not actually connected? What if it's just an excuse? What if even an artificial heart can beat and fall in love and drown in sorrow? So basically, I look at this and I feel like some of you, first of all, aren't capable of feeling anything right now, but it's because of what you've experienced that you are putting the steel around your heart. Like, I'm choosing not to accept the feelings around what I've just experienced. And it's like being robotic in your responses, being on autopilot. But the thing that I would say to you is you have to look at yourself. If you feel like you're unable to feel anything, or if you feel like you don't want to face the feelings based on what you experienced, you can't blame the outside world for not bringing color into your life, because it's about what is going on within you. Now, on the other hand, though, what I will say here is that eventually you're going to have to face it, right? And again, when it comes to these cards, these are only going to be for those of you who are in the dark place here and need to hear this message. Eventually, those feelings are going to creep in and you're going to have to deal with it. And before you even go darker than what you are right now, remember that you do have control over your emotional responses to your feelings. But you're not going to be able to block it out forever. But like I said, for some of you, it's like, I just can't feel anymore. Everything on the outside isn't making me feel anything, but really it's about what is going on internally with you. Here is your overall, the Six of Pentacles. I have a thing with anything that has to do with fairness and balance. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, like I said before, I have 4 planets in Libra. Anytime something is unfair, I immediately become upset and want justice immediately. And I look at the Six of Pentacles as the minor to the major. being your card, Justice. But in this case, with this being the overall, we're talking about equal give and take. What is it that you're giving to a situation? What are you actually getting out of it? Is there something that you want to give to but are unable to, which can be, another situation here. But we'll see how this is playing out, right? Hopefully this isn't about a one-sided situation anymore. It's about, you being able to give your part and receive the equal amount back. In the past, the Knight of Swords. Jon Snow. It's Jon Snow. The Knight of Swords is the past, can suggest that some of you may have taken action a little bit too quickly. Some of you may have felt like there was something that needed to be communicated very directly, or this was coming at you, but I feel more so that this is the action that you took in the past. Knights representing the action. Now, I look at this card though, and I feel like there is a sense of rest now because I have done the right thing. The conviction there based on the action that was taken, even though it was quick and needing to be done abruptly. But again, communication does come into this, but we'll kind of see how this is playing into the Six of Pentacles and what's going on with everything else. But it's almost like, I kind of feel like the Three of Wands should be like right in between this, because for some of you, you may be, kind of like waiting to see what happens now and what you're going to get based on this, based on the action that you took, based on something that you may have said. Yeah, so instead of the Three of Wands, the waiting here in this case is the Hangman. So the Hangman being in the present moment. I feel like for a lot of you, you felt like you've done the right thing. But now it's like you're putting yourself in a place where perspective needs to change, right? Because with the Hangman, you're talking about the limbo state here, trying to gain enlightenment. It's also about not being able to make any more choices to take action here because there needs to be a new perspective on a situation. But that's based on giving and receiving here with the Six of Pentacles, but we'll see. More action. More action. In future conditions, the Knight of Wands, it's interesting to me because you move into a place where the way that I think you view what you give to anything changes. Whether we're talking about work, whether we're talking about relationships, whatever the situation is here, it is about what you are giving and what you're actually getting back out of it with the Six of Pentacles. Looking at the Knight of Wands, coming out of the Knight of Swords, I feel like you went with conviction and said what you needed to say and you did what you needed to do. But now the perspective needs to change on that action from the past. And you move into this place now with the Knight of Wands where it's not about being right or wrong. It's about action with passion. But it's also about not worrying about what's going to happen later or after that. It's almost like once your perspective changes and you gain that enlightenment, you go from a place of, I have to act quickly and I have to say this to, you know what, I'm just going to go with the flow here and just kind of follow where my passion is leading me and not worry so much about what happens. Now, on the other hand, if we're talking about something else that you're dealing with, the Knight of Wands can definitely suggest that we're talking about something that is coming in and out of your life very quickly. 1 minute it's here, the next minute it's fucking gone. And that may not be what you were expecting to receive. And that may be why in the present moment you're like, I don't know. But we'll see here. Okay. Your best path to follow the Magician, and that's just basically saying that you are responsible for creating the situations that you experience. You have the tools and the skills to manifest that cool ass shit. But it's up to you. You have to make the choice to use what you have available to you to make something happen. But what is it that you're creating, right? Because that is your responsibility. Is it something that is equal with the Six of Pentacles? Can you make a situation more equal by changing the way that you act or the way that you respond to people in whatever situation that you're dealing with, right? But I see the Magician as a good thing. It's just saying that you have the ability to create whatever you want. Like I always say, if you can manifest bullshit, you can manifest something better. But you are responsible for what you are creating. And you have to accept what you receive out of what you create in a situation. In your environment, the Nine of Pentacles. And that may be the issue, right? So you have this energy of acting quickly, being, hasty, but also feeling like you've done the right thing here. But then all of a sudden your perspective is like changed because nothing is really moving forward for you. And with the Nine of Pentacles, this could be about whether or not, what you're getting involved with is going to bring you, and it's for some of you, financial independence or just independence and security on your own. And it may be one of those situations where you may have made the choice to become independent, where you feel like you have everything that you need right where you're at. You don't need anything else. But then there is this passion coming through with the Knight of Wands. And the action is completely changing. Completely changing. But I look at that and think you're fine. You're fine. Even if you, are unable to act on something right now, you're okay. But if you do choose to act, you're still going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. But for some of you, it's more about, being independent. Okay. All right. So hopes and fears, the Five of Cups. Yeah. You don't want to be let down. You don't want to be disappointed again. And that would be the fear. The hope there is that you're seeing that even though, situations may have let you down before, there's still that opportunity for you to make the most of it. And again, I go back to the Magician, right? You can create whatever the hell you want. But for some reason, this holds importance to me. Because when you're in a place of feeling independent, it's not that easy to give to something and then sit back and watch, what you receive from it. Because it's like, I don't need help. I don't need that, and I don't want to give of myself right now. I have everything that I need. Why should I give to this situation? And I think that you've been very clear about that in the past, looking at the Knight of Swords, but I also think that you're reconsidering your actions. But it just depends here. But like I said, I look at this as I don't want to feel any more disappointment. I don't want to make the choice to give to something and be let down again. Okay, and then coming out, the King of Cups. So here's the culprit. Now, for some of you, absolutely with the King of Cups coming out, it is going to be about being a little bit emotionally distant, right? Because it's interesting to me when you look at this Five of Cups, she's on this rock or her own island. And when you look at the King of Cups, traditionally, that's how they describe him. He's on his own island. He's not like the Queen of Cups, where, he gets easily involved in other people's issues and lets his emotions be pulled toward that. He has a little bit more control than that. Still very loving, still very giving. But for a lot of you, especially for those of you who are struggling between, being intellectual about your actions, but then also having to deal with the emotions surrounding disappointment and being let down with somebody, I think that the King of Cups here is showing that, you're getting to a place where your emotional responses are my God, if I could talk, are in control. You're a little bit more in control of the way that you respond emotionally. Now, on the other hand, for some of you, absolutely, it's going to be the person you're dealing with. Is it that they're becoming more emotionally open, or are you used to them doing this and then flipping the switch with that Knight of Wands being there? Do you want to continue to give to this, or do you stay in this kind of position of, I can't, I don't want to? And then the Three of Pentacles. Can it work? Can you make it work? Absolutely. You have the ability to. But is this person working with you? Or is this going to be a situation where you can't have any expectations on this person and what they're willing to give? But what are you willing to give, right? Wow. All right, so first of all, the Three of Swords. Looking at the Knight of Swords, that absolutely explains why there was this quick action to speak without letting somebody respond. You fucking broke my heart. This is what I have to say about that. But with the King of Cups being there, we could also be talking about this person also being brokenhearted over, what is going on with you. For those of you who are dealing with a person here. Now, with the Four of Swords and looking at the Hangman, this is definitely a moment of silence, but it's also about you needing to kind of recover, and you do. And with the Nine of Pentacles, you're good. You're good on your own. You don't need this. And you don't need to feel anything. But the thing is to get away from this place of emotional disappointment, you have to start using what's available to you to create what you want out of the situation. But do you feel like you can do that with this person? And the Three of Pentacles to me looks like, especially with the Knight of Wands, that there may be a way for something to work with somebody specifically. But that's only if they're in a place where they are in better control of the way that they are feeling. I look at the Three of Pentacles and I look at that Magician and I'm looking at this. Right? You hold that like magic in your hands to make whatever the hell you want happen in this situation. But with the Six of Pentacles, it can't be one-sided. So I understand why some of you may be in a place of, well, I had to get over this. Why should I be willing to give anything to this if you're not going to show me something first? With the Knight of Wands, I almost wonder if for some of you, especially with the Hangman being there, that you move into a place where, depending on this person's emotional response to you, where you're like, okay, let's just go ahead and see what happens. Fuck it. Let's just see. But again, no expectations here. And it's not, worrying about what happens later on. It's about just acting toward that passionate drive. But like I said, if you're used to this person flip-flopping, especially with the Three of Swords and the Four of Swords being there, I can understand why some of you may be like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure, right? Wow, Libra. Like I always say, it's general. You'll know if this is your situation, what you're dealing with here. And strength. Having the strength to be open even though you may have had to find balance in your life based on past experience. So, you want to continue to maintain that balance here, but you want to also be open to the experience, but also hold on to your strength. The strength that you've had to gain through a heartbreaking or disappointing situation here where you were definitely let down or hurt. But I also believe that it is also affecting this person, otherwise you wouldn't be dealing with them. And it's interesting to me because I look at, astrology and the whole thing with fucking Venus in Scorpio. I have Venus in Libra on top of Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto. So I like it when Venus is at home, right? That's where it belongs. When it gets into Scorpio, that's where a lot of fucked up shit starts to happen, where everything becomes all or nothing. But now with it going into, this retrograde and it being in Scorpio for a while, it doesn't surprise me that we're having to kind of go back and deal with people that we've already had difficult experiences with. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the negative is going to come out of it. It just depends on you and what you choose to create here. Do you really want to deal with this person again? Do you really want to continue to deal with them flip-flopping if that is the case? Or are you going to move forward without expectation and just kind of follow and see where it goes? Because it may lead to a place where something can work out with that Three of Pentacles, but you can't be the only one. And there's your Knight of Wands, valiant courage. Take action with passion. There you go. There you go. Right? It's not about conviction anymore. That's past. That's over with. It doesn't lessen the heartbreak and the disappointment, especially emotionally. But with the Four of Swords, there has been time for you to, consider things, especially with the Hangman. To go over all of that and break the silence. Say what you need to say here. But with the Three of Pentacles, I still believe that for a lot of you, this could be a situation that could work out very nicely. It just depends. What do you want to create? Or do you want to stay alone? Do you want to stay independent? Do you feel like you're fine with everything that you have right now? And again, with the King of Cups here, male or female, doesn't matter to me. But this is what's being projected outward. But you are needing to take the voyage of the heart now and take that action with passion, without expectation.